The lights were bright, the crowd was loud, and all eyes were on the octagon. KETLEN Vieira and PANNIE Kianzad were ready to go to war at UFC Vegas 107. Both fighters stood tall, calm, and focused, each with something to prove. KETLEN Vieira, strong and powerful, was known for her amazing grappling and heavy top control. PANNIE Kianzad, quick and sharp, loved to strike and keep the fight on the feet. As the referee gave the signal, the fighters touched gloves, and it was time to see who would come out on top. Right from the first few seconds, it was clear that both women had come to fight. Kianzad moved quickly, dancing around the octagon, throwing out jabs and light punches to keep Vieira guessing. She looked sharp, snapping her punches straight down the middle. Vieira didn't rush. She kept her hands high, staying patient, waiting for just the right moment to move in. She knew her best chance to win was to get the fight to the ground, and she was watching closely for an opening. Then it happened. Vieira shot in low, grabbing Kianzad's legs with power and force. She drove forward, lifted her opponent slightly, and brought her crashing down to the mat. The crowd reacted with a roar. Vieira didn't waste a second. She immediately started working from the top, controlling Kianzad with her strong grappling skills. She moved into half guard, pinning Kianzad's legs and pressing her weight down hard. Kianzad stayed calm, trying to move her hips and make space, but Vieira kept her locked in tight. From the top, Vieira began landing short punches to Kianzad's body and head. She wasn't trying to knock her out, but she was staying active, scoring points, and making sure Kianzad couldn't escape. Kianzad threw a few elbows from the bottom just to show she was still in the fight. They weren't hurting Vieira much, but they were enough to remind everyone that she was still dangerous, even on her back. The round continued like this, with Vieira staying on top, controlling the fight and showing why she's so feared on the ground. When the horn sounded to end the first round, Vieira stood up confidently and walked back to her corner. She had done what she wanted, took Kianzad down and kept her there. Kianzad took deep breaths and listened closely to her coaches. She knew she had to avoid the ground if she wanted to win this fight. She had to stay on her feet and use her speed to her advantage. As the second round began, Kianzad came out with more energy. She threw fast punches, combos that landed clean on Vieira's face. Left, right, left again, then a kick to the body. Vieira took the shots and stayed calm, but you could see that Kianzad was trying to shift the momentum. She was faster on her feet and wanted to keep it that way. Vieira tried for another takedown, but this time Kianzad saw it coming. She sprawled back hard, stopping the attempt and staying on her feet. That was a big moment for her. The crowd cheered as Kianzad started landing more shots. Her jab was sharp, her movement slick. She was starting to find her rhythm. Vieira pushed forward again, trying to close the distance, and the two women exchanged punches in the center of the cage. Kianzad landed a nice right hand, and Vieira answered with a left hook. It was back and forth, both fighters showing their toughness. Then Vieira got in close, grabbed hold of Kianzad, and pushed her to the fence. She wasn't able to take her down right away, but she used her strength to grind against her opponent, throwing knees to the legs and body, wearing her down slowly. Kianzad fought hard to get free, and eventually, she managed to break the clinch and circle away. She threw a few more quick punches, trying to stay ahead on the scorecards. But with about a minute left in the round, Vieira went for another takedown, and this time she got it. She grabbed a leg, pulled, and took Kianzad down again. Back on the ground, Vieira returned to what she did best. She controlled the position, landed short punches, and made sure Kianzad stayed stuck underneath her. The round ended with Vieira on top, and once again she looked like the stronger fighter. Heading into the final round, both women knew it was close. Kianzad had some good moments with her striking, but Vieira's takedowns and control on the ground were clearly making a big impact. The coaches gave their final advice. The crowd was excited. This last round could decide everything. The third round began, and Kianzad came out fast, throwing punches right away. She knew she needed to make something big happen. Her strikes landed clean, and her footwork was sharp. She hit Vieira with a quick combo and moved away before Vieira could answer. Then another punch landed, and the crowd got loud. Kianzad was fighting with urgency, She needed to stay off the ground and outpoint Vieira on the feet. But Vieira wasn't going to let that happen easily. She stepped forward, closed the distance, and grabbed hold of Kianzad again. The two fighters locked up, and Vieira drove, her opponent toward the cage. Kianzad fought hard to stay standing, throwing elbows in close, trying to push Vieira away. But Vieira stayed tight, and finally, she got the fight to the ground once again. This was where Vieira wanted to be. She moved into a strong position and began landing more punches from the top. Kianzad tried to push her off, but Vieira's pressure was just too much. She stayed heavy, controlled the pace, and kept landing shots. They weren't knockout blows, but they were scoring points and showing the judges who was in control. Kianzad kept fighting, kept trying to escape, but she was stuck underneath a stronger opponent who knew exactly what to do. The final minute ticked away. Vieira stayed on top, never giving Kianzad a chance to get up. The crowd watched closely, knowing the fight was almost over. With 10 seconds left, Vieira landed a few more punches, and then the horn sounded. The fight was done. Both women got to their feet, breathing hard, sweat dripping down their faces. They had just gone through 3 hard rounds, and now it was up to the judges to decide the winner. As the fighters stood in the center of the cage, the announcer grabbed the microphone. The scorecards were in. The crowd held its breath, and then the winner was announced, KETLEN Vieira, by unanimous decision. She raised her hands high, smiling with pride. It was a hard-earned win, and she deserved it. She had used her grappling skills perfectly, taking the fight to the ground whenever she needed to and keeping control from start to finish. Kianzad looked disappointed, but she had nothing to be ashamed of. She fought with heart, showed her striking skills, and never gave up. She made Vieira work for every second of that win. Both women showed respect to each other, hugging after the decision. That's what fighting is all about. Tough competition, respect, and heart. Fans watching from home and in the arena got to see a real battle tonight. It wasn't just about power or speed. It was about skill, heart, and strategy. Vieira knew where she was strongest, and she stuck to her game plan. Kianzad tried everything she could to stop her, and she had her moments. But in the end, Vieira's control on the ground was the difference. This fight had everything: fast punches, strong grappling, big takedowns, and heart from both fighters. It showed why MMA is such an exciting sport. You never know what's going to happen next. Every second counts, and every move can change the fight. As Vieira walked out of the cage, fans cheered her name. It was a big win, and it would move her up in the rankings.